Starting in quarantine without an end in sight, we're bringing to you advice and good conversation from one teenager to another. This is Sanika and Chelsea with Armbridge, a podcast we hope to be informative and reflective of the everyday world around us. Thank you for joining us today. Today is May 12th, a Tuesday. Last week I talked about reuniting with some of my old friends from middle school, and there were a lot of chaotic jokes and very insane tangents, so please go check that out. As you know from watching last week's episode and the one before it, we split up to do our own solo episodes, but now we're back. So this week we're actually talking about something totally out of our expertise, but we went totally unhinged with it, and we're gonna roll. We're gonna roll with it. Yes,
ma'am. All right. Shall I introduce the topic?
Yes.
Okay, so yesterday we asked you, this sounds like a Jax Films video. Yesterday I asked you. Yesterday we asked you, what are some unrealistic expectations that the media gave you about romance or relationships in high school? And I got pretty standard responses, but they're very relatable.
Yeah, me too. I got I guess like where this sort of started, we kind of I don't know if I can it's very unlikely that this will happen, but this sort of started when I followed someone on Instagram, and I was like, that's totally unhinged. It's something that I never would have thought of doing, because this person
we're sheltered nerds, so our definition of unhinged is very mild.
And so I was like, that was like a totally unhinged thing that I just did. Would be really unhinged if we talked about relationships, even though none of us have been in a relationship.
We are so qualified.
And yeah, it kind of spiraled into this thing where we were like, Riverdale, right? Riverdale, that like one scene where the guy's like, I dropped out in the 4th grade to sell drugs for my grandmother and whatnot and stuff. And we were like, so this is the sort of thing marketed teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're teenagers, and like we thought, sort of the gap between that and real life, like totally like not the same thing.
The highs and lows of high school football.
Yeah, it's the highs and lows of high school football. Indeed.
All right. So I think my responses, again, could be kind of grouped into 3 categories. We've got the one that I would find one period, in which case relatable. 2, that, it's easier than it looks and whatnot. Like, all these chick flicks are like, oh, this is cute, this is easy, this is fine. And everyone's like, no, it's not. I wouldn't know, but
oh, right.
I'll take your word for it. And then 3, never have I ever references, because everyone has watched that and it's fresh in our minds.
I haven't seen it yet. You
should watch it.
I should. I've been too busy with Love Island, so I've got to get off of that.
You need to start that too.
It's so... oh, jeez.
I'm watching like 5 shows right now. Oh my god.
I know, and then simultaneously they're all just combining. Like, it's
I know, like the plot's just...
When that audio, that TikTok audio that's like when worlds collide? That's like how I feel right now.
About all the Netflix shows. It's just one Frankenstein show in my brain. It's funny.
Okay, so which one do we want to talk about first?
Which one do we want to talk about first? Also, I'm recording this like in my house, and I still live with my parents, and they're like, they're gonna have questions after this, but you know what?
It's fine.
Fine. Okay, since mine are kind of grouped together, we can go to the first one, that I would actually find one, period.
Nice. I guess it really depends on what school you go to.
That's also true.
I don't know. Because I feel like, at least in my friends' experiences, they've just known people. Like, they just clicked with people. I don't know if it was, like, so much their school as it was, like...
just getting along.
Yeah, they just had, like, a friend for that long, and they ended up, like, getting together, but...
Imagine that.
I know, like, I don't know if it's just, like, a cultural thing. Like, maybe... I don't know, because for me, it's, like, my parents don't want me dating and stuff like that, for their own reasons, which is fine, but... I don't know. I think it's just, like, because the goal of like the media is just to make it seem more attainable and make you feel like you're not alone, right? But for me, it makes me feel more
More
alone.
alone.
Like, because it doesn't happen like that, I
Yeah.
guess. And yeah, I mean, because we were kind of talking about, I don't know when we were talking about this, but like, I think I was saying like all the guys that I've ever had a crush on are just like an image of a person that like doesn't exist.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I liked this person because of what I think they're going to be like.
Not
And
what they're
even right
actually
now,
like. Mm-hmm.
I know, even right now, that's how I feel, right? So, I feel like the media sort of played a big part in that, like
Mm-hmm.
how I think other
Just
people are.
idealize everyone, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I have to offer on the subject. I think, wait,
I mean, is it the same for you in your experience or like?
in my experience, I mean, to be honest, it's not really a priority for me, and I didn't go into high school thinking I would find
Oh
someone
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, honestly, for me, it was fine. Like, the media does give unrealistic expectations, but there's nowhere for me to apply it necessarily, so it's like,
hmm
okay, I haven't felt feelings in so long.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't. At this point,
So
like, I
there's nothing
wonder,
to compare. I'm just
like,
like,
because I don't know if I've just been like disillusioned by the fact that I've never like met anyone that I've actually liked.
mm-hmm.
Because I'm like looking at it now, like, because no one. It's like, I mean, no one considers like their like middle school crush like valid. I mean, I haven't met anyone that was like, yes, like I
Oh yeah,
definitely
that was
like this person.
legit.
Because like I just totally like blocked that out from my mind.
Yeah.
And like yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know. Like growing up, I didn't really have. I wouldn't say I was that influenced by like media in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess I just sort of. I don't know. I don't know what I expected. I was just there. I was
I
just
think
vibing. Like
personally, my problem is going to be the fact that, like, because of the media, the bar is set, like,
so high or
unreasonably high. And I'm already a very
yeah,
idealistic person. So it's just like,
yeah. It's just already so like
yeah,
just
double the expectations. And
yeah,
I'm just never going to be happy.
yeah. I mean, this is a very interesting topic. I mean, honestly, at this point, we could
Okay.
probably just. I feel like we could just go off on like relationships in general because I feel like media is like sort of too narrow for me right now
Yeah. I
at the
mean, if it
moment.
comes back in the conversation, we can
Yeah,
incorporate
for sure.
it. But let's just go ham.
Yes, let's go ham.
Let's go ham.
Um, I don't know. I think like my concern about like having or being in a relationship is like being artificial, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how to say this, like, because for me, like someone that I liked a while back, like I felt that I could be myself around this person, but that's because we were friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know that like in the past when I've liked people, I don't act like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the
Oh
scariest thing for me is
yeah.
like that I invest like if I were to invest so much thought into like thinking, oh my gosh, I like this person, but then not, and then like letting yourself go in the process, like leaving a part of yourself up to like whatever the relationship is supposed to mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that
And
like I
that's
think
the
I'm
thing.
really
Like it's
afraid of.
it's yeah, me too. It's a commitment, right? Like you have to find a balance
hmm
between fully being yourself and then like, kind of doing what's better for the sake of both of you. And I'm like,
hmm
should there be that kind of compromise, or is the whole point finding someone where it's like you have to compromise the least
hmm
to make it work out? I don't know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because at least like again like with one of my friends like at some point I don't even know how this happened. He never talked about it, but he broke up with like his girlfriend because she reportedly said like, oh, he wasn't like doing enough. Like I don't know the situation. It's probably pretty sensitive for him. But I'm also worried like if I were to date someone that was like my friend, how would
Hmm.
that
How much
how
is
would that
enough?
change? Because like I would probably value them more as a friend. Like not friend zoning, obviously,
Hmm.
but like that dynamic because like I feel like maybe some people that go out with each other, they feel like their dynamic has to change
Hmm.
because they're dating now. But you
Now
really
that there's a
don't have
different
to
label
act
on it, yeah.
exactly. You don't have to act any different, but just from observation, I feel like some people completely change themselves for the sake of something
Yeah.
you don't even have to change for.
And I don't want to. And that's the reason I've kind of been like putting it off for a
Oh
while
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's
for
like
sure,
I
for sure.
don't want to give up myself, but at the same time, it's like,
Mhm.
do I need to? Like, is that
Yeah, yeah. Because there's like in my mind, I'm like, wow, it would be such a power move if I just shot my shot like right now.
But
Like
then
if I
it's
just
also
did
like,
it,
but if I did, that
then it's
means
like, wait,
I have to put in
that would
like
be bad
work.
embarrassing. Exactly. Yeah. Um, and like some people, I feel like they constantly, or at least another one of my friends, like, you constantly need to feel like you have to be with somebody, I guess. Like,
Mm,
we were also talking about earlier, like the void that you create, right? Like,
yeah.
um, I feel like at some point I really wanted a relationship, but that was something that I made up to
Mm-hmm.
like make myself feel better, I guess.
Right, right, right. And I think that's another thing. Like, I know it's like a really cheesy thing that a lot of people say, but like, ideally, you should be comfortable being by yourself before
Hmm.
you can like be in a relationship. Because I've seen that with friendships, and I do believe in that. I've seen it in friendships where it's like, we had this discussion where I had a friend
Yeah, yeah.
where it's like, I feel like I pretty much just existed to like fill a void that they felt in their lives. And so I would just be like the person they come to like to dump their problems on me, or if not that, just like to feel better, right? And it's like, yes, I'm here to support you. Yes, I'm here to make you feel better. But at the same time, I'm my own person and my job is
For
not
sure, yeah.
to help you feel better. I'm simply here to like support you on occasion when you need it. I shouldn't be filling a void in you, or I shouldn't
Yeah,
be
for
like,
sure.
yeah. So I think
Hmm.
that applies there too. Um, I feel like that's a problem I'm gonna have. Drawing from my friendships. If you need like support or if you need help, I will drop everything and talk to you.
Right, right.
But it's
Yeah.
also draining for me, right? So I'm not gonna like put up with that full time just because I'm like a placeholder for someone's emptiness. Like go find yourself before you find me.
Yeah. Because I guess now that you mention it, like I think I've been telling you this, but I guess like the story would be good just for the sake of like continuing the
Conversation.
discussion. Yeah, but basically, I told you about like one of my friends who was like, he's like a really affectionate person,
Hmm.
and I was like, man, am I catching feelings? Like, is this happening right? Because like it happened, because I saw him again like at some point, and I was like, because he seemed really upset, and he was saying like, oh, my girlfriend broke up with me. He was kind of trying to like be sort of, I don't know, kind of like affectionate with me, and I was like trying to like set a boundary, but yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm always there to, I'm also there to support my friends. I think it's pretty important, but I think like I have this really difficult distinction of like when, like how much information I accept,
Yeah.
like to
Hmm.
the point where that person becomes like they might be dependent on me, or I feel
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
I'm just this beneficiary for somebody else,
Hmm.
and like where to draw the line. Like
Yeah.
I'm really bad with like with making that distinction,
Distinction. Same
I
here.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I guess like maybe we can move on to the next
Yeah, we can move on to the
question.
next question.
Yeah.
Another one is that like you have to get into a relationship, or like if you don't, there's like something wrong with you.
Hmm.
I think again that kind of ties
I
into
don't
the whole
know.
like what school you go to. I feel like that peer pressure
Hmm.
could exist in other schools. I've definitely like
Hmm.
I don't know. I've heard some of my friends talking. They're like, "Oh, why haven't I found anyone else yet?" And I go to like this nerd school, and I'm like,
No one
"What's the
cares.
problem? I don't see the problem."
I don't know. I think it's just like this vulnerability that you have that like you feel like you're not complete, and so the excuse for it is like, oh, I need a. I mean, I'm not saying like if you feel that way, it's invalid. Like that's okay.
That's okay.
But
Everyone
I
has
feel
a
like
problem.
part of it is like you're trying to find your other half, which is like an extremely like deceptive like phrase, I
Saying,
guess.
yeah,
Yeah, because it implies like you aren't your
you
own
are
like
half.
autonomous person.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
like I'm myself, you are, and that's the other thing that was going on like in a lot of my friendships that I've been thinking about recently, where it's like, yeah, I'm my own person, you are your own person, and like we're when we hang out, when we're together, it's not like I don't know. Okay, no, I think I know where I'm going with this. That phrase, like "you complete me" or like "you're my other half," that irks me.
Yes, yes,
No, I
yes,
don't
yes,
like
yes.
it. Like if you say that to me, I'm
Mhm.
gonna be like, okay, because like I am me, you are you. I have my own life, my own little sphere, and you simply exist to like give me emotional support. You're like a nice addition
Yeah,
to my life, you know, versus
yeah.
like I don't
Like
need a
leech.
relationship. I don't need a person. I don't need any of that like as a
Right.
necessity. I could live
Right.
and be self-sufficient without it, but it's nice to have one if it
That's
were to
true.
come up. And it applies both to like my friendships that I'm looking at right now and
Mm-hmm.
maybe down the line.
Maybe down the line.
Maybe
Crossing
perhaps.
your fingers. Yes. Um, and yeah, but I think it's like hard, sort of to build off of that, like when I mean, not necessarily in a friendship. Maybe
Hmm.
you don't consider it a friendship, but when you're in sort of a relationship where
An
like this
acquaintanceship.
person, yeah, I guess, like you like genuinely have this person that you know, right? That like is probably going through something mentally or
Hmm.
their family has like this issue or something. And it's like hard to ignore that because at some point you're like, yeah, I got to cut it off. Like it's toxic if someone is like putting their problems on you.
But
But
at the
at the
same
same
time, you want to
time,
help.
exactly. But then
Yeah.
like it's hard to like brush them off and say, "Oh, you're not really upset about this," because like they are, right?
Yeah,
Um
and I would never say that
hard
to a
to say. It's
person.
hard to like cut it off and say like, "Oh, figure it out." Like it's really hard because
No, I
you don't
agree.
want to like, you
Hurt
know.
them or like make them even worse situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's I told you that's my problem in like my friendships and stuff. Like I even when I'm like emotionally drained, I don't know how to tell people, "Hey, listen, I can't listen to you right now because I'm going through my own things."
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
no.
again, there's a line and it's just you have to draw the distinctions. Like I'm going to support you, but only to an extent.
But it's like, I don't know. It's like hard to put that, like to say that in a way that's like not offensive.
Yeah,
I
unless the other
think.
person like agrees with you
Yeah,
or like
because sometimes
believes.
like, because I've had friendships with people that like constantly put themselves down like for no reason. Like, I mean, I guess I used to be like this, but more so like as a joke, like, oh, I'm so stupid, or oh, I'm
Oh,
so
I
like,
stopped
I'm
doing
not
that long ago.
smart,
No
or
self-deprecating
oh, I'm
humor.
like,
It's not just
yeah, it's so bad. Like, I think junior year was kind of when I started like, I mean, yeah, I wasn't doing great in stuff, but I mean, like, it becomes so exhausting, not just for you, but also like, I think for other
for
people that
other people to
you.
constantly listen to that. Yeah.
Because you like internalize it. Like even
Hmm.
when like people are saying it about themselves, it's not even about me at all. But I'm like, I start remembering things that made me feel that way. Like I started sort of internalizing those things. Like, oh yeah, I am kind of bad at this. I am kind of bad at like whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it just became like a really bad like mentality for like the first 2 years of high
Oh yeah,
school. I
for
think.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, like pretty much the same thing happened where it was like in sophomore year, I started picking up on the whole self-deprecating attitude and I'd be like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm so dumb. This is so stupid. I'm so like blah blah blah." I'd point to like a trash can and be like, "Haha, me." And it's
Dang,
like
the
I
classic,
thought
classic trash
I
can.
know. I thought it was so quirky and hilarious, but like when I look back at it now, I'm like, dude, you're just putting yourself down. Like whether you mean it or not, you
Right.
are internalizing that and it is hurting your confidence. Like I spent the entirety of like 2019 just unraveling that. And I still am, but it's a lot better. I've stopped no self-deprecating humor. We point at trash cans and I would be like, if that was a Gucci trash bag, that would be me.
That would be me.
Only Gucci trash bags.
Yeah, only. None of that
Only.
Louis Vuitton or Supreme or whatever. Just
No.
Gucci.
Actually, no,
No.
Gucci's racist. Uh,
Oh, never mind. Gucci is over party.
what is an ethical, not racist
um,
designer brand?
I don't keep up with that, so I don't know if I'm not the best person to ask.
Vera Wang seems pretty tame, right?
Yeah, she seems chill. I
She
mean, like
seems
as a
chill.
person too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm only a Vera Wang trash bag.
But yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
also I guess sort of to I guess like pick up on the like toxic self-deprecation.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like a lot of people sort of came from the fact that they didn't have like if this makes any sense if they like they don't have their own identity
Hmm.
if that makes sense because I feel like a lot of it stemmed from like academia at least at our school like people would take certain classes because like I mean everyone is like
Is
taking
pressured
them
into
and
doing,
like
yeah.
whatnot yeah and then like when you sign up for it and when you I guess like a lot of people would complain and say like, oh, I'm bad at this, I'm bad at that, but you like signed up for it. Like it's really hard because like if you don't like trust in yourself and your own decisions, and then you blame something else for your own problems, like it becomes like so bad. I don't know if identity is the right word, but you just have no like you don't have self-direction, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. I think that also, since we were talking about relationships originally, that shows up like a lot of times in a lot of relationships I've like seen with my friends and like
Like, oh, is this like
people.
romantic relationships?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. Sorry.
Like I don't know, they'd be like arguing and my friend comes up to me and he's like, oh, he was like, he apologized, but he was like, oh, I'm so stupid. Please forgive me. I'm so dumb. I'm like,
That's like not.
that's not healthy.
Is that simping at that point? I feel like maybe a little bit.
Good Lord. I still don't fully understand what that means, but like,
I feel like in the context that I understand it is like giving yourself away to a person like too much, but they don't actually like
okay,
reciprocate it back.
reciprocate
That's like
back.
my understanding.
I
Yeah.
okay. I think that's where I was thinking.
I hate using the word. It's so
Honestly,
like,
I think
I
2020's
feel like it's
worst
the
mistake
best.
was introducing the word simp to the general public.
Yeah, what?
It does not belong in anyone's vocabulary.
It's like I thought it was like short for simpleton at first, right? And then I was like, there are just so many layers to the word that I just don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
That's my context of it though, I think.
This is our
From,
take on the word.
Yes, exactly.
Anyone who actually knows, please correct us.
But yeah, anyway,
Shoot an
like
email at, no, I'm kidding, no.
at armbridgepodcast@gmail. DM us at
Armbridge
armbridgepodcast.
podcast.
Instagram.
Yes. But no, yeah, like
Yeah.
whenever I'd hear that and like apologies or like whenever I'd hear even like a friend saying that like, oh, I'm so stupid, blah 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 blah, I'm like, stop it. Stop saying that. No, you're not. You made a mistake and that is okay. That doesn't make you stupid. And it's just to be on the receiving end of that stuff sucks too, because it's like that's not an apology. That's like you trying to make me feel sorry for you, kind of.
It's like fishing for compliments, I
Fishing for
guess.
sympathy. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not gonna sympathize with that. You made a mistake. That doesn't mean you're stupid. Just adapt
I
and
mean,
overcome.
also, like if you say something like that, like, and that's your argument, that means you just have no other argument.
Yeah, like
To prove yourself worthy of this or whatever.
when I get in arguments, I like pull full debate cases. I'm like, I'm not gonna pull any of this emotional drama. Here are the facts. I did a full psychoanalysis on myself, and here's what we've got going on.
There's like
No, but,
different. It's like whole case.
yeah, but like there's a level of truth to that because like I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of some like emotional blackmail or anything like that. So like why would I do that to someone else, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I don't know. I've never really been in arguments with my friends, but I feel like I've made friends with people along the way that have like not really, but that depend on me for things that I guess I can't solve. Sort of to sort of backtrack in that. And then like the moment you can't help them, it's like because I knew this girl who stopped being friends with another girl because simply because like quote unquote she wasn't like giving her enough support.
I have that problem.
But then, like, I mean, at that point, like, how much... It's sort of like what we were talking about earlier about, like,
how
the
much
void
is
that
enough?
you
Right.
create, right? And it's like sometimes that void can also be created just by, like, trying to make yourself feel better. Like if someone can fill it for you, you feel, like... How do you say this? You feel not better about yourself. You feel validated, I guess.
Yeah, I've definitely
Like,
done that in the past.
I mean, I feel like I've done it myself, too.
Yeah, so I mean, like, we all do. It's just adapt and overcome, the motto for this podcast.
The Beard Grylls adapt. Oh, improvise, adapt, overcome. I think that's what it is, the whole thing. Yes. But yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's, yeah. There is, okay, so on occasion, my horoscope spits some, like, wisdom at me, right?
Horoscope.
And, yes, my horoscope. And, like, a lot of days, it kind of, it says this thing where it was, like, in, like, significant relationships in your life, whether, like, platonic, friendship, family, whatever, right? You have to, like, find people that have the same fullness to emptiness ratio as you. And I was like, what on earth does that mean, right?
What?
So I was reading it and I was like, typical horoscope cryptic language. Like this doesn't make sense. But like I was thinking about it the other day, and this is kind of what we're talking about, right? Like where it's like we all need like friendships and like other people to like give us some sense of like validity and some sense of fulfillment, right? But it's like to the extent. So like to the extent that you want to give that or receive that from another person, right? So I guess like the fullness and emptiness can kind of be seen in that way where it's like for me, I'm pretty self-sufficient, like personally. I don't need a lot of like company. I don't need to constantly spend time with people. Or like I don't need to constantly like seek validation from other people, right? And like it's not a good thing or a bad thing because I've definitely had occasions where people are like, "You're not talking to me enough," and I'm like, "Oh, do I need to?" Yeah, but like it's not like that for other people. Like for some people, they need to talk to people and they like get that sense of fulfillment or like feeling better about themselves from interacting with others, and they're on like it sounds negative, but I wouldn't necessarily think so, on the emptier end of things where it's like they want more from their friendships.
Oh yeah.
Than I would. God, I'm making sense. I'm gonna listen to this podcast afterwards, and I'm just gonna be like,
no, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but like,
as if you're, yeah.
The point, I guess, like to find good friendships or find people that you're like compatible with, you have to find someone who's willing to give and take the same amount as you are. Otherwise, there's gonna be like that sense of this person's giving too much, this person's not giving enough. Why am I your punching bag? Like, why are you not supporting me? So
but it's like hard for me to
want from people.
I guess it's hard for me to determine that. I don't know, because I overthink a lot. So like, yes, I guess when I've like when I'm like with certain friends and I haven't seen them for a long time, like I wonder, or I used to wonder before when I was like, I guess in middle school sort of, and like early high school, like am I like too obsessed with like this friendship, or am I too invested? Like, is this person invested? Mm-hmm. Or like if you don't reply to my text, are you as invested?
Do you not like me?
As I am? When really like it's just something arbitrary, like, oh, I just wasn't on my phone, or I don't use this app. So I think like, I don't know, in a time where like right now, I guess we depend a lot right now on like digital means of communication. Like nowadays I find it really hard to determine like what you said, that empty to fullness ratio, because like you're like, I'm like constantly yeah. And I'm questioning now, like since there are people I'm not seeing right now, like we don't see each other except for at school. I'm like questioning like what is our relationship as friends now that we've been apart, right? I don't know, like it's really hard for me to determine that. Like I already overthink, but now I have to overthink in my like while I'm alone in my thoughts. There's no one else around. Now it's like twice the
overthinking.
Like, why aren't they following me back? Why didn't they answer my text? Like, I'm just in this constant state of tension, like, for no reason. But yeah.
I think the takeaway that we should all learn, and this is a very, like, bold thing of me to say, considering I relate fully to your statement, is we shouldn't determine the value of our friendships based on social media.
I know. I was like, do I really care? Am I, like, 14?
Right?
Like, who cares if they don't follow me back,
like,
dude?
I have this one friend, and like we're pretty close. Like when we're in person, we get along really well. We talk nonstop. Like it's great. Life's going great. But she's like never on social media or text or like anything. Like there's no way to communicate with her online. And I'm like, so she'll go like days and sometimes even weeks without like messaging me back. And like 2 weeks later, she'll be like, "Hey, sorry, I was busy. About what you said." And I'm like, "Girl." I know busy did not take 2 weeks, but that's just the way she is. Like we're still close friends. It's just
of course.
It would be dumb of me to determine the value of that friendship based on her frequency of visiting Instagram.
Of course.
But I do that too for sure. Like
Is the third question so kind of similar, or is this the heavy part? Are we getting into the heavy part now?
I love how we've gone from like romantic relationships to like friendships because that's our only area
We don't know anything.
I know about friends. I think another one that I've kind of been getting is like the perfect couples are always happy with one another. Like, this is again tying back to the media that we've like strayed really far from since the beginning of this episode.
Oh, for sure.
But the media portrays couples as perfect, and that's like easy to.
I mean,
come on and like.
I don't know.
I think it depends on the
that's
movies you watch. If you watch sad movies like me, I think the media really like sets me up for hating people. I'm like, wow, man, I would never want to go through that. But like chick flicks, I guess. I haven't watched enough to.
Yeah, I mean, but like I think the huge part of it, thinking about it now, is not so much emotional appeal. It's like for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's for the gratification of the consumer because, like, I don't know. This is like really unrelated to everything, but while I, while I was watching Love Island, I was like, you know, they had like the original cast, like all getting along, getting together and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the moment they would throw in like something like that I totally hated, I was like still invested. I was like, yes. I was so mad at like the new contestant. I was like, get them out of here. They're so disgusting. They have no personality. Goodbye. But then the moment I started like, I was like, I stopped being mad and I was like, oh my God, I've fallen into their trap. Like that's the point. I mean, I think like perfection and like stuff like that is just meant for you to be like, oh, why don't I have that? But then you're like, oh, they're so cute. Like there's that duality.
It's the escapism aspect of like movies as well, right? Like
that's what it is. Yeah.
You turned entertainment for escapism, so
yeah,
they're gonna provide.
Yeah.
But like, I guess to an extent, or like nowadays, I feel like in general with all forms of media, whether it's like music, movies, whatever, right? I feel like the general public is becoming less appreciative of like an escapist type
yeah.
plot or like song or whatever. Like I've noticed the artists that become popular nowadays are the ones with like real lyrics, often political or like introspective or like, you know, they're deep and they're legitimate and they're not going to help you feel better about anything, but you relate to it. Right? Same with movies. Like if you look at Netflix, what was that one? Marriage Story.
Oh yeah, that
one was like everything wrong with marriage. And I was like,
oh yeah, for sure.
It was at the top of Netflix for like quite a while. But I guess that goes to show like people aren't falling for escapism as much anymore. And I guess that kind of goes into these questions where like a lot of them are like, why are relationships portrayed as like perfect and like easy and blah, 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 blah by the media? I think it's because those movies are still in like the escapist mindset versus like nowadays, I guess the public just wants reality. They want to be comforted by the fact that like not everything's great and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess it's also a matter of like I guess like not really a boycott, but I guess people are looking for people like them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're sort of just drawn to that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like also I mean like in terms of perfect couples in real life, like that doesn't exist. I mean, because I feel like the people that have the best relationships that I know or that I've seen, they just like they somehow have that grasp on like maintaining a friendship over like we were talking about before, like the dynamic of like
it starts out as
you have to change when you date. Yeah.
They remain themselves.
Yeah. Like it's so corny, like just to say, oh yeah, just be yourself, or like there are other fish in the sea, whatnot. But I really think that's like how it is.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend giving me like her 12 a.m. rants, and she was like, "Do you believe in true love?" And I was like, "No."
Oh no.
Like what? Because I'm like your token optimist, your token idealist in every friend group, and I'm like, I do not. But like, it's not realistic. There's 7 billion people, and I'm gonna find one, and that's all right.
That's that. Yeah.
And it's all right if that's not the only one, because honestly, that would scare me more than the plenty of fish in the sea mindset.
Like, I don't know, because if you're single for the rest of your life, awesome.
Yeah, like more power to you.
Like that's life, I guess. And I don't know, I guess it's like harder when you get older because you meet people that have like been through like this and that, and then
Hmm.
like you haven't, and like I don't know, because I feel like the difference between me as an 18-year-old and some of my friends as 18-year-olds, it's like we've lived like different lives, like it's so crazy. Um,
Okay,
but
18,
and
like
I
18 through 22 is like this, not 22, but like maybe 24. It's like this
yeah,
weird age where it's like everyone's doing
everywhere.
different things. Like some people are
Yeah,
going to college, some people are having kids, some people are getting married, some people are going to the
yeah.
military, some people are doing, I'm like, whoa.
Like what
It's
are
like
we
that one
doing?
age where you can like really do everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but also like I don't know, I don't know. It's like there are so many things that go along with like being mature and being an adult, and like
Mhm.
having a relationship is like one of those. And like I don't know, I feel like it would be more awkward like to date later because like I don't know,
That's
by that
the thing.
time like like everyone like someone has
Everyone's
like
settled.
or everyone has dated someone already, and then you're just like the new
You're the little
person.
new.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
No,
saying like
yeah.
I'd want to date someone like out of convenience. I feel like it would just be more so like I know
What
what
just
to
happened?
expect. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be that old, like doing whatever the heck I'm doing and then
Hmm.
never have that experience. Like I just wonder what it would be like. Not so
Yeah,
much like I like really want to go out with this person or whatever. It's more like, oh, what would that be like?
what would that be?
I just like wonder.
Fulfill that curiosity. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of how I feel about it.
Hmm. Dude, anything past 25 scares me. I know there's like probably some 30-year-old listening to this, like,
Yeah, it's not that bad. Like I don't know, is it? Can it be that bad?
because that's
Like
when like things start slowing down, like
yeah,
when you're expected to like settle and like do this and do
yeah.
that. And I'm like, I'm trying to stay in my roaring 20s, teenager
Roaring
mind
twenties.
the rest of my
Yeah,
life.
because I feel like I don't
Because
know, like
you
being
can
a
do,
teenager for me was just I don't know.
I lost my teenage years. I did not live like a teenager at all.
Yeah.
I was
Um.
so far from being mature and like the perfect kid. No, but I mean, even so, like I feel like teenagers, like your teenage years and then like your early 20s, those are the years you can kind of do whatever. Like
mm.
you want to start a band and run away, go for it. You want to like
Start a podcast? Go ahead.
go for it. Like after 25, that stuff is like seen as like reckless almost. I guess like I really admire people who are like older, like okay, not older, 30s is still pretty young, but like who are like
Yeah,
30s, like or in their 40s even, and they're still just like doing whatever they want. Like they're not letting this idea of like having to settle down stop them from like dropping everything and flying to like
yeah,
Italy to do it, or like running away and starting a band.
for sure.
I appreciate those people a lot because it's like they're just doing
Yeah,
whatever.
they're just vibing. They're just in the
Content,
zone.
yes.
But also I guess like now that you mention it, I feel like college, like one of the reasons I'm just so excited for it is like I get to relive all the teen years that I wasted.
Yes.
Like that I wasted doing what? Like I don't know because
Being sad.
I
I
don't
spent
know.
5 years being a sad person.
I know like over what? Chem? Like oh my God. I want to like slap myself in the face because
Like
at some
stop it.
point like
Go live life.
um sort of like we were talking about like making your own decisions, like having your own identity and whatnot. Like I legitimately thought like after freshman year of like switching to my zone school.
Hmm.
And like sometimes I wonder like would I have been like happier making that decision? Like would I have had the teenage like I mean of course you're never gonna know, right? But like I wasted my teenage years on like things that just weren't what
Hmm.
like I don't know. And again that's like what the media does to you. Like I don't know. I thought I'd have like at least a fun,
You watch
non-problematic high school
Perks of Being a
experience.
Wallflower once, and you're like, man, I want to be a theater kid.
I wanna... But now theater kids are like the butt of every meme.
Yeah, for real.
All it...
They're the next
Sorry,
student athlete.
guys. But yeah, I don't know, because I had this like limbo, I guess, where I was like, I didn't know who I was.
Hmm.
Like in class, like at the beginning of the year, how some teachers like make you fill out like a like get to know you survey. And then I'd be like, what? Like, what do I write?
Who am I?
I don't even know myself.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've made that promise to myself. Like for college, I am not going to try to like fulfill anyone's expectations. I'm not going to live or do something because it looks good on my resume or because it like
Yeah, what the
would
heck?
make me seem like a more favorable person. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And not like in an unhealthy way where it's like, I'm gonna go try everything the world has to
Oh
offer
yeah,
and
for
be
sure.
completely off the rails. No, it's just like if I don't want to join this club and my heart tells me I'm not going to put the time and effort into this, or even if I do, I'm going to be like pushing myself and really hating it, I'm not going to do it because I don't have time for that. Like I'm going to completely be myself. I don't care.
Because I guess like also I don't know, this is unrelated, but like my parents, because I think my cousin called or somebody, because I can legally drink in Canada, right?
Oh
And
yes.
so every time we talk about like going to college, my parents always warn that like don't do drugs, don't drink in there. Like I swear I won't.
I won't, don't
Like, I'm
worry.
not joking. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like I swear. Yeah. But like the dissociation is like so hard at this point. Like it's not, I guess like high school was valuable to me, but not for the reasons that I wanted it to be valuable
Yeah.
for.
I learned
If that
things,
makes sense.
but
Did I? Because like I don't know. Because now I get to like tell my brothers what not to do and what I hated
mhm,
about high school, and so they know not to do it.
yeah.
And that's like my only. That's the only takeaway I get from this.
I was the guinea
Um,
pig child. Woo.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I think I just spent a lot of time not being myself, like just doing things
To look
for,
better.
I don't know for whose validation. I don't know who I was doing it for, but I was doing it for, I don't know what.
Society, quote unquote.
Yeah, society. Like, what society?
I want to look like the model child. I want to be perfect.
That was me in like eighth grade, dude. I was
Yeah,
like, wow, I'm such a genius going to this big brain math and science school. Like,
I know.
no,
Oh my God. Girl,
no,
no.
hate school. We out here.
Yeah.
But yeah. That was the worst part.
hmm
All right, it seems like it's
Or do you want to
probably that
address
time.
one more question? This one's pretty
What?
easy. It's funny.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the freshmen I'm friends with, she said, "Bro, I watched Mean Girls because everyone said it was good. Worst movie I've ever watched."
What?
I firmly disagree. Mean Girls is iconic, and you cannot ever
Because
replace the cultural value
like
that Mean Girls has.
the point of Mean Girls to me like was not that it's supposed to emulate a high school
It's
experience. That's
not.
not
It's
the
so
point.
like out
It's
there.
it's a social satire. It's like
Cultural
supposed to
reset.
be unrealistic. Exactly.
Yes.
Also, like I guess I don't know if you see this, but like if there's a spectrum and Mean Girls is on one side, and like Heather's is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
If you've seen that movie, like and
Uh-huh.
yeah, the point of those is not to be about high school. It's just a satire on
Fun.
on society. That's like deep
hmm
philosophy right there. That's
Yes.
answering the real questions.
hmm
Mean Girls is answering the real questions.
All
But
right.
yeah, it's
Shall
that
we?
time again, everybody.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
time for deep questions with friends.
Are we
Yay.
drum rolling the desk? Woo!
Um, I don't know if my mic will pick it up. I probably have to just
I
edit
heard
the
it.
audio.
Just
Nice.
add a drum roll in.
Okay. Um,
Okay, let's pull up our
okay.
questions. Existential questions. Do you want to go first? Do you have questions?
Yeah, I'll go first. Um, these aren't. Oh, okay. When were you the most proud of yourself?
I'm gonna say them. Oh Lord. Okay, well this I have an answer, but it's not like a specific day. I think it's more of like a process. Um, I think we made clear that I had been going through a hard time in like sophomore year, junior year, kind of like the middle
Mhm.
years of high school, right? And so I think there was a lot to like unpack that I did terribly wrong
Oh,
during those years, just like in terms of my mental health and like emotionally. And so I think
sure.
my biggest achievement or what I'm most proud of is overcoming that and kind of just,
Oh, nice.
stepping back, looking from a third person point of view, being like, okay, well, whatever happened, happened. Here is
Yes.
your next path.
Uh, okay,
The next
I'm ready.
path I'm walking down. Okay. Um,
plugging in my charger.
What is your real nature, or like your true nature, or your true identity?
Like how
I love your Math and Science Academy shirt.
Oh, it's just like repping.
Yeah.
I hate this shirt. Actually, it's one of the less ugly shirts that I own. If I'm gonna be honest, like I've had, because like this is the sort of design you like can't argue with. Like it's plain. There's nothing going on.
Yeah, there's not enough.
It's just there. I respect it in that sense. I respect that it's like not ugly. But like, what do you mean by like true like facets of my personality that I don't show to people, or like?
Yeah, so like you kind of act differently. I also, everyone acts differently around specific people. Like you kind of change the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, you know, around certain people, with the situation. So what do you think your like true essence is? Like if you were talking to yourself, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very expressive, like with people that I know really well, and sometimes like if I can start talking on a specific thing, I'll like keep talking about it, and sometimes I end up saying things that like I regret, or that I'm like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have said. Oh, this is why we're here. But yeah, I think like in person, I'm kind of loud. I can get talkative, I guess. And I tend to be like, sometimes if like I know you well enough, like I will reveal too much.
Me too. I have a problem with oversharing. I'll be like, oh, I had that discussion with you last week. I was like, hey, I know I am way oversharing, but here's.
Oh no, I mean, because I know you already, so
yeah,
it's like
we've known each other for a while.
We both have that moment.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What helps you decompress? Like, what helps you de-stress?
Music. Here's my cliche generic answer for everyone, but it's true. Like, I feel like we all kind of have that one hobby that, like, when we do it, it just feels nice. That's music for me. Like, I don't know. It's meditative.
Self-promotion.
Oh, yeah. Once my original music drops, be sure to check me out on Spotify.
It's over for y'all.
Coming out this summer.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. What happens when you die?
Oh my gosh.
I'm the queen of mortality
I asked this question last week, actually. Yeah.
Every time we have these questions with friends, I always hit them with like mortality.
So what happens when I die?
Yeah, like what's next?
Like religiously for me, at least, like I believe there's an afterlife, but I feel like I'm like so skeptic of my religion. I feel like I'm just gonna end up in the middle, like whatever that's supposed to be. If that makes sense. Like, because I don't know, I've been taught like since I was younger, like, you know, you either go one way or the other way.
Right.
But at this point, I'm so skeptic of everything. Like, I just feel like I'm gonna end up in some middle. Like, if you the good place, right? I feel like I just be in. I would be in the middle place. I would be in the medium place because I just don't like know. Yeah.
I don't know what I believe in necessarily. Again, religion would definitely bias my response too. But there was a short story I read. It was called The Egg. I think that was kind of my most comforting, at the same time sensible explanation of what happens after death. You know, like if we're talking straight science, the consensus is probably you die, period. But I don't like that because that's not comforting. So sometimes I throw in a little magic just to make me feel better about things. I think The Egg kind of fulfills that balance. Like it makes sense and like it's still a comforting thought to have. Y'all should read it. It's like
Schrodinger's cat. The Egg.
It has the same ring, same energy. Go ahead.
Let's see. I'm trying to like, some of these questions are just really, really corny because we don't need icebreakers. We already know each other. Okay, let's see. Okay, if you could pick a new life motto for yourself right now, what would it be?
A new life motto for myself?
Yes.
Improvise, adapt, overcome. No. But I said this in my solo podcast too, or like it's the same idea kind of, where it's just like be yourself.
Mhm.
Like, if we want to get philosophical, I consider myself an existentialist.
Oh no, for sure. The number
And
of
so,
times we've talked about, what do you call it? The number of times we've talked about nihilism after coming out of calculus,
oh
that's
my
like
god,
the
for real.
most existential, like peak, like
Yeah.
philosophical we've ever gone.
Our,
Yes, for
our
sure.
philosophical discussions are
But
great.
like
Post-cal
most of the time
philosophy.
it would just be you explaining and me just going like just having like a brain
Sonica,
like
stop it.
destruction like every time. That's fine though because I learned, but like
It's
I
fun.
think
It's
like the
fun.
pressure of that and then coming out of calculus every day is just like a lot.
You should have told me I'm stressing you out. I didn't know that.
But no, it's not that, but it's just like a lot of
A
information.
lot of information at
Because it's
once.
like it's like I'm using like two different compartments of my brain because like
Mhm.
one was for calculus and then one was for nihilism.
That left brain, right brain
And
type
questioning
stuff.
why I'm alive. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, but I consider I like existentialism as a philosophy because I think it's cool. And I agree with it for the most part. So I feel like summarized existentialism is just kind of like wing it. Like we're gonna die. No one asked to be here. Might as well make it a
Yeah,
good
I
time,
mean,
right? So like,
yeah.
be yourself. My motto kind of ties into that, where it's like I don't have time to like fake it. I don't have time to do things I don't want to do. I don't have time to like pretend to be someone I'm not. Like
Mhm.
if
But
I'm
also like
here, might as well just like do things my way.
yeah. And I think also, when were we talking about this? But we had that discussion like, um, someone asked like, how are you going to die or something? I think you asked me that.
Yeah,
I'm like, honestly, it's just like, the phrase like live every day like it's your last is so dumb. Like
I
just
don't
live
like
your
it.
life, and then when you
It's
die,
too
you die.
yeah, whatever.
When you die, you die. Um,
Yeah,
I guess. Like I say that now, but maybe when I actually die,
I
I
have
might
like
be
an
more
actual
free.
like post to death experience. Like live every day like it's your last.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Like it
partially
happens
believe
one
that.
time.
I
Yeah,
partially
I
believe
mean,
it. Like I definitely think rather than like live every day like it's your last, I think it's more of like if I were to I said this in my solo episode too, where I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and it had like this statement or like paragraph where it was like, if you were to die like now,
like
would you
right
be
now.
okay with it? Like you should live your life in a way that you're comfortable with dying at any moment
For
because
sure.
you're happy with it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because my friend said something like that last week. He was like, I think, because I was like, what would you regret if you died right now? Wow, we're really just coming full circle. Look at
Wow.
that. Plugging our
Mortality
episode.
questions.
Yes. But anyway, he was like, I guess his only regret would be like, because his life was like so short in comparison to like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then yeah,
There's
like
so
we
much out
also
there.
came to this consensus like, 'cause I think I asked like three mortality questions last week. I was like,
Really?
what up with that? But another one was like, I think I asked, what was it like? What would you be reincarnated as if you die?
Oh, I
And
like
we
that.
were just like, we all came to the consensus like a cat. Like that's
I
it.
would love to
Cats
be a
have no
cat. Are we kidding?
responsibility. They just get to lie around. They're super cute, and then that was it. That was like it.
Weird. That's just sit still, look
That
pretty.
was
That's the ideal
yeah,
life.
a wonderful life. Yes.
And at the same time, it's not like a dog where it's like the dog has to be like obedient to the owner. Have you ever seen
Oh
cat
yeah,
owners? They're like slaves to their cats, and the cat's like,
exactly.
you cannot sit here, and the owner's like, all right.
That's really about to be me. No, no lie there. But yeah, okay. I guess
I'm
I'm
gonna
ready for
ask.
my question.
Okay, yeah, we could do
I
like
think
one more question each.
yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Let's see. Trying to come up with a good one. What do you hope right now to achieve in the short term?
Original music. Check it out on Spotify.
Oh, the EP.
Yes, there's no EP yet.
Yes.
It's just like
Oh,
one song,
okay.
but
That's fine.
we'll get there. Hopefully the EP will be
Yes.
out next year. I have like half of it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anticipate that, you guys. Anyways, that's my short-term goal. What about you?
For me, I think I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to like finish up my exams and like maybe apply for some scholarships and that's all I have in mind right now.
Hmm.
I thought of getting a job, but we're
We're kind of
No.
not. Yeah, no, me too.
We're inside alone.
I don't know if I want a
Yes.
job right now, anyways.
Yeah, me neither. It's like the
I'm reading
last.
all these tweets where people are like, "Oh my God, this lady came up to me and she was like, take your mask off like a real American." I'm like, oh,
Oh, bye.
why?
We do not stand on this
I
podcast.
know,
We're
like,
we're pro quarantine, everybody.
you're pro mask use.
Pro mask, yes.
Wear your masks. Don't go outside unless you have to. Order takeout to help stimulate the economy.
Single-handedly saving
Yes,
the
we
economy.
are.
Yes.
I've gotten into the habit. Okay, so like one of my friends has gotten me into the habit of saying yes, ma'am, a bit too much recently.
Oh no, like
I
I
say
did
like
that
yes,
too.
ma'am to everything. I
There
sound
was a
like
girl on the debate team like that did that.
that did that. I sound like
Yeah.
every Stan Twitter account.
Yeah, Stan
It's
Twitter.
like yes,
That's what it
ma'am.
is. Like,
To literally everyone and everything.
'cause I don't know if I've told you this, but when I get like tired at places,
You
like
like default
especially at debate
responses?
tournaments, when I get like mentally drained, I would just start using slang, like really
Yeah,
corny slang.
'cause you
Like
just
yeah, like I would use Stan Twitter slang. But like
Mhm.
now that I'm like here alone, like I just do that
Mhm.
normally. I'm not even
Oh my God,
tired.
me too. Like I have a couple default responses from when my brain's like not functioning or like when it doesn't want to think too hard about what it has to
Yeah.
say. And one of them has definitely turned into yes, ma'am. If I want to give a quick reply, yes, ma'am.
Like the clapping emoji that's like this.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that's like this.
Just scroll through our recent DMs. You'll realize that's like 90%
There's
of my
so many.
vocabulary
There's so
right now. Ooh. Okay. Why do we dream? Last question from me.
Okay, I had this like super weird dream the other day. It woke me up. I was like so scared.
My entire
Because
family, we've created this like dream sharing circle during lunch where all of us are like, I had a weird dream last night.
it was so bizarre. So I guess, I don't know, I feel like if you're not gonna get scientific with it, I guess you dream because you're curious.
Maybe they're like
I don't know,
projections
because
of
like
like a
I don't
mix
know,
of
'cause I
what you
feel like
want in reality.
the dreams that I've had are just like, oh, I wonder if like I met this like not even just this this is just the dream I just talked about. Just
Uh-huh.
like in general, like oh, like sometimes I see my friends or people I don't know really well, but I've
Mhm.
thought before like, huh, I wonder if I could like talk to this person. Like that would be really cool. Or
Mhm.
and it's just like yeah, I mean, I think it's just because you're genuinely curious and your brain, like your subconscious,
Kind
just
of
kind
does
of
it for
creates like, yeah,
you.
this is what will happen.
But in like the most weird way possible.
Yeah, like in the worst way
It's like
possible.
the TikTok versus Vine comparison where it's like a weird Frankenstein version of what your brain wants. Something's not quite
Yeah,
right,
I don't know.
but it's there.
I need a
I
montage.
had a dream recently. There's a celebrity I really look up to, right? I dreamt that we were playing baseball and broke my neighbor's window. Like what? Meeting them
It's
would
so
be a
sad.
dream, but not in that way.
Wait, dude, like I'm still not over. Oh, oops. I'm still not over that coincidence that after, like right after we published the Megan Thee Stallion episode,
The Megan Thee
she
Stallion,
released the.
Beyonce.
That was insane.
That was insane. We
Like that's
literally
not even
summoned her.
like watch him follow me after this. Then I just like the
Honestly,
sign.
can we? I am going to go to the Grammys in 5 years. I summon it on this podcast right here. Actually, no, 5 years is too early. That's a little like ambitious. Maybe,
Yeah, you're kind of in the middle of that. Again, you're in that 22, 24.
yeah. I don't know. That's,
Yeah.
that's a bit early. I'd say maybe 8 years seems help.
That's,
Seven,
that's
8 years.
actually pretty reasonable. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I said it here.
Yeah.
I summon it. If we can still summon Megan Thee Stallion, and if that follow request comes
And
through
that,
after this
oh my
episode,
god. That was like, yeah, so
law,
iconic
yeah,
already.
law of attraction, the dreams, yes. I've had a lot of dreams related to, sorry, I'm like dragging this, but I've had a lot of
Very
dreams
good.
related to death recently, and I was like, what on
Like,
earth? Like, why am I
like,
dying in every single dream I have?
oh, that, oh. I mean, I don't know. It could be like a subliminal thing. Like, I mean, at least like on the news, right? You see death all the time, like the word,
Yeah,
and
that
like
could
it's
be
just like
it.
a thing. I
It's
don't
just like in
know.
your mind.
Maybe.
That, I don't know how much I believe in like dream interpretations, like that pseudoscience.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
it's
a little
like
sketchy.
dreams have meaning and stuff. But I Googled it just to like scare myself a little less, you know? And they were
Oh
saying
yeah.
often like you dream about death or like dying when you're about to go through like a significant change in your life. Considering that I'm about to go to college and I am very much not in school right now because of a global pandemic,
Yeah.
that's a lot of changes. Maybe, I mean, it made sense. I don't know how much I buy into the explanation, but it definitely fit that time. So,
That's how I take like horoscopes though.
yeah,
Like
same.
there's like one right thing, and then I'm like, oh my
This
god,
is
like
real.
this
This
is
is
so
real.
accurate.
The stars decide
I
my
take it out of
life.
proportion
Same.
just to believe something,
Just to believe in
just to
something.
believe
Love
something.
that.
Like right now, it's just yeah, just to believe in
Just
something.
to believe in
Yeah.
something. All right. Shall we wrap it up?
Ready? Yes.
Okay. Again, everyone, what started in quarantine has now come to a non-temporary end. Hopefully you all enjoyed our impromptu, what we've kind of been doing this. I know y'all are enjoying the deep
Yeah.
questions with friends. I force y'all to because we love it. We'd like to credit google.com for providing us
And
with this
everyone who
valuable
submitted a
question.
response to our very tangent-based episode.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is very incoherent, but it's okay. Sometimes more incoherent ones are more fun. So thank you to everyone that submitted
Yes.
questions, or I guess they're more like prompts for us this
Mm.
week and in the previous weeks. We hope you'll continue to join us every Tuesday for more advice and shenanigans. Until next time, this is the Arm Bridge Podcast.